Hello everybody, Ole Gamer Joe back with another Media Moogle review. It seems to be Cyberpunk week or weeks around here lately. We have a review of VirtuaVerse for you today. This comes from developer Theta Division and was published by Blood Music. It was released just as of May 12th, 2020 onto Steam. It is a point-and-click indie adventure set in, of course, a cyberpunk universe. Doesn't look like developers are going away from this thematic look anytime soon, and I for one say bring it on. This is a fantastic aesthetic that I absolutely love, and VirtuaVerse does a really good job of bringing it to life yet again. So in VirtuaVerse, you will take control of Nathan, who is a bit of a dork. He likes to mess around with VR technology. He is one of the few folks out there that can smuggle and mod various hardware. He cracks things. He is a hacker, basically. He also has a nifty headset, which is a bit of a rare commodity in this universe, and that allows him to see more of the world, things that are not easily detectable or can be seen at all by the naked eye. Nathan lives in a tiny little apartment with his girlfriend Jay, but unfortunately for him, Jay decides to hit the road one day and he doesn't know what the heck happened. He inevitably discovers that Jay is involved in some shady business, and this leads him on his journey, which will take him through a variety of different settings and a bunch of hairy situations. So right off the bat, even if you are a fan of this aesthetic, you do need to be warned that this is a point-and-click adventure game by the books, and it is extremely difficult. If you are not a fan of that genre, the aesthetic will do nothing to change your mind here. You might like the music, you might like the atmosphere, but you're going to be dealing with point-and-click adventure gameplay through the entirety of this game. That includes clicking around the screen, hoping that you find certain items that your eye can detect, but you might miss and have to go back and find again, and some frustrating puzzles, which are extremely difficult in this title and very obscure at points. You'll collect a wide variety of items in this game, from brooms to coins, and they will be stored in your inventory system, which is pretty by the books. No surprises here as far as point-and-click gameplay goes. You'll then use those items in an effort to solve puzzles. Sometimes you'll also need to combine more than one item that's in your inventory in order to solve a puzzle, or you might have an item that you forgot about for a long time, but it eventually does come in handy. You'll also want to pay close attention to the settings that you find yourself in this game, because there might be little objects that you've missed here or there that can lead to hours of frustration, and of course certain characters will provide context clues which will help you hopefully find the next destination. You also have a wristwatch of sorts which gives you a very general idea of your next goal in the game, but by no means is a dead giveaway. You're going to need patience to approach VirtuaVerse and get the most out of it, and if you do have patience and you're willing to endure some of its more difficult sections, you're always rewarded with a really interesting story that has some hilarious dialogue and writing. In fact, as is often the case in this genre, one of the best parts about VirtuaVerse is listening to all of the different dialogue sections that you can choose from. There's no real voice acting in VirtuaVerse, which I thought was a little bit disappointing, but by no means a deal breaker, and I was still able to get a lot out of every character that I came across. A lot of you have heard me say this before, but this is just the way this point-and-click genre is. They're slow, methodical games that are difficult to figure out. Sure, you could probably wait for a walkthrough if you wanted to, but what's the real fun in that after all? The whole point of the game is solving all of these different puzzles on your own, but please do understand, if you take anything away from this review, you're going to be stuck, and you're going to be stuck a lot, and you're going to spend a lot of hours in this game. Graphically, VirtuaVerse fully embraces the cyberpunk attitude and has some beautiful color palettes, lush pixel art that is completely drenched in rain for the majority of this title, great indoor settings too, like bar areas which are detailed fully with lots of unique personalities, and a fantastic synthwave soundtrack from Master Boot Record, who I was not familiar with, but I am absolutely a fan of after playing VirtuaVerse. From pulsing, hard-hitting beats to the slower melodic synths, I loved every single second of it. This is a really fantastic soundtrack that's absolutely worth listening to on its own merits. In fact, you'll find that VirtuaVerse is a game that's really driven by that soundtrack. It will help you to push through some of the more difficult sections, and it did help me continue on throughout the adventure. That's really my big takeaway from VirtuaVerse. It's an excellent looking game with a fantastic soundtrack and some frustrating puzzles that can be satisfying to solve but are going to take a lot of time to do so. If that's something you're willing to deal with, then this is a game that will reward you with its excellent presentation. But if you don't have patience, then don't even waste your time on VirtuaVerse, because it's not going to be the game for you. As someone who loves this genre of games and has played many of them throughout the years, I was not too bothered by the challenge, and I think longtime fans of the genre will definitely appreciate that challenge. And while it will certainly take some time to get to the better bits of this game, VirtuaVerse is ultimately a game that will reward patient players with some excellent presentation choices, a fantastic soundtrack, and some clever and smart writing that will have you laughing. For more on VirtuaVerse and all of our other content, head on over to MediaMoogle.net, where we have some great podcasts for you to check out, like I Dream of Indie, our indie game show. And if you have enjoyed our video coverage today, please do consider hitting the subscribe button below. It really does help us bring a voice to the voiceless in gaming. If you really like us, you can head on over to patreon.com/MediaMoogle, where we have 3 great tiers to choose from, or feel free to leave a donation in the description link below. However you support Media Moogle, thank you for doing so.